Hi, welcome to this tutorial on queries. If you're following along with the Pokédex app, make sure that you're in the right branch. Let's do that now. So we're going to check out into step 2. Now that we're in step 2, let's start. A query is where we specify the data requirements of a React component that we have. And the way that we do that is we create the React component and we wrap it in this higher order relay container object. An example of a query can be seen here. So why don't we try this query out now? So let's take this query and evaluate it. So here we can see the result of our query. Let's drill down a bit. If we open up the docs panel, we can have a look at this query of type query viewer field, and we have all of these methods available to us. In this instance, we've used all Pokemons. The convention in GraphQL are these edges and nodes. A node is an instance of a model, in this case, a Pokemon. Edges represent the connection of a node to another node, in this case, Pokemon to all Pokemons. Inside node, you can see we've specified ID, name, and URL. If we look at the result again, we can see that these fields have been filled out. If we remove one of these fields, let's say URL, and we query again, we see that this time we don't get given the URL in the result. We only have ID and name as we specified. So let's have a look at containers. Containers are what Relay provides us to wrap a React components with a query that we specified. So in order to specify the data requirements for a React component, we use Relay's createContainer method, which essentially bundles the query and your React component. While we specified a single query before, queries are actually composable using fragments. For instance, if you take the constant viewer queries we defined earlier, this is a good example of a fragment. In later examples, we're going to construct new queries by composing viewer queries with their new fragments. So let's get to some code. In this case, let's prepare list page for the next section. So currently, we're exporting list page with the router. What we want to do is take our React component and use Relay's createContainer method to wrap our React component with its data requirements. Let's do that now. To speed things up, let's copy the code from the example. Okay, now that we've wrapped a React component with its data requirements, let's make sure viewer queries is accessible to it. Let's go into index.js and use the queries property to do this. Now that viewer queries is accessible to the list page component, let's go ahead and modify the list page render method to render something more meaningful. Finally, let's make sure that we import Relay. Okay, great. So what we've done is we've specified the data requirements of our list page component, used relay create container to wrap that component with its data requirements, made sure that viewer queries was exposed to it in index.js, and made it render from props its viewer ID. So let's run it and see if it works. As you can see here, we don't see anything. This is because we haven't pasted the GraphQL endpoints in when we checked into the new branch. So let's do that now. Now let's run npm start. Brilliant. Now we see your viewer ID is viewer fixed.